Yo, what is up, guys? Delboy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully, you guys are doing well. If you're new here, smash that like, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. So, Billam Smith defeats Brandon Glanton via a 12-round unanimous decision, hard-fought fight to bounce back from his loss to Gilberto Ramirez back in October of last year. Very hard-fought fight. I have to say, I'm watching this card on the zone. And listening to the commentators, I have to disagree with their assessment. At the end of it, they were kind of convinced it was relatively clear that Billam Smith won, clear that he won. And don't get me wrong, I think he won this fight, but I felt it was a lot more hard going than the commentary team made out. But yeah, hard fought fight. Both guys had their moments. I think maybe the experience of Billam Smith came through in the second half of this fight. Going into it, I felt this may be the show stealer or the dark horse on this card. And it was a good fight, competitive fight, like I said, hard fought. I wouldn't go as far though as saying it turned out to be the show stealer, but good fight. First half, certainly the first 5 rounds of this fight, I felt Brandon Glanton was a little step ahead. First couple of rounds he may have given to Billam Smith in terms of picking the better punches, the single punches, picking his moments better. Brandon Glanton was applying pressure, trying to stay on Billam Smith's chest, firing combinations up close. A lot of it messy, but some getting through. The work rate favoured Glanton in the first couple, but Billam Smith, I think, did land the better shots. So you could maybe say Billam Smith won the first couple. I felt rounds 3, 4 and 5, Glanton started to take over. Some good body work, some good hooks around the side. Again, on Billam Smith's chest, on the inside. Billam Smith wasn't really dissuading Brandon Glanton from walking in and getting on his chest. There wasn't any jabs to speak of it or anything like that. And I have to say, in rounds 3, 4 and 5, I felt Billam Smith looked spent. It looked like he couldn't fight off Brandon Glanton and he was just getting outworked. And I wondered, is this a shot fighter I'm seeing? Is this a shot fighter? Because I certainly felt that Glanton was a step ahead in rounds 3, 4 and 5, certainly. And at that point in time, I would have had him up in the fight. Outworking Billam, out-hustling him, caught him with a couple of good left hooks, a couple of good overhand rights. Wouldn't say they badly hurt Billam, but they had an effect still, do you know what I mean? But after round 5, I felt Billam Smith started to regain composure, regain his shape a little bit, use that jab a little bit more. There was a moment, and again, I do apologise, I don't know whether it was round 5 or 6, but there was a moment where Billam Smith landed a right hand, like a throwaway right hand, but it did land. Glanton slipped and he went down. I kind of felt that should have been a knockdown. I might be wrong, but the punch connected, and Brandon Glanton slipped, and he was slipping throughout this fight. His shoes on the graphics on the ring, he was slipping, but it was still caused by a punch. So I think Glanton was a little lucky not to suffer a knockdown in this fight, despite it being somewhat fluky. But yeah, after round 5, I felt Billam Smith certainly took control. Glanton put a lot in early on. And on top of that, one thing I'll say about Billam Smith, he was landing hard body shots from early on. And in the second half of this fight, I think those body shots paid their dues. And I think Brandon Glanton's work rate early on came back to bite him. He wasn't as active in the second half of this fight. Don't get me wrong, he still won a couple of rounds in the second half. Like round 12 in particular, I felt that Glanton won. Billam Smith looked like he wanted to see out the fight. I feel like he was confident that he won it at that point. Kind of gave away round 12 because of that. But in the second half, Billam Smith was able to maintain range a little bit better. Able to land more jabs, able to land that kind of weird long-range uppercut that he likes to throw. time Glanton coming in, there was less hectic movement from Glanton, there was less output, and as a result, Smith was able to pick the jab, pick the shots behind it, usually just sort of single shots, but he was able to pick the better punches, and yeah, fight kind of fizzled out towards the end. Billam Smith kind of got him under control, and won, I would say, a deserved decision. Hard fight still, relatively close. At times early on it looked like Smith was struggling, but he got through it, and he won the fight. So, good win for Chris Billam Smith. This wasn't an easy fight to come back to, following his loss to Gilberto Ramirez. So, credit there, good win for him. Glanton, I would say, top 10 cruiserweight. Certainly top 15. And a hard-nosed type of fighter. So, yeah, this was a good sort of a good opponent to come back to from Chris Billam Smith. Where does he go from here? Have to say, I don't think he's got much left. I think he's saying he wants to fight Jai Opetaia. If he can get that fight, why not? But I don't think it ends well for him. If he can get one last payday against Opetaia, why not? But yeah, I don't think that fight goes in his favour, put it that way. I really don't. I think Opetaia will knock out Chris Billam Smith. I think that fight with Zerdo, Gilberto Ramirez, took a lot out of Smith. He took a beating in that fight. And let's be honest, throughout his career, hasn't had the best defense. He's taken a lot of punishment, had a lot of hard fights. Billam Smith has been a success story in boxing. His style is based on endurance, toughness, durability, and that makes up for a lot of his deficiencies in terms of skill. But as a result, he's taken a lot of punishment throughout the years, and should he fight Opetaia, I think he'll get decimated, quite frankly. When I say decimated, he'll be tough for a few rounds, but he'll get stopped. I'd rather see Opetaia versus Ramirez, but if he can't get Ramirez, then why not Billam Smith, right? Former world champion, still ranked, etc. But anyway, share your thoughts below. Beanie Guy Delboy, peace.